putting you on the field for the best highlights at the Low Country's biggest high school games. Friday Night Lights.
All right, ready? Okay.
H-Y-P-E. Get hype with KB. H-Y-P-E. Get hype with KB.
It's time for the Friday Night Lights tailgate show with Kevin
Bilodeau.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday. That means it is high school football, and it is time to tailgate with the Friday Night Lights tailgate. Let's hear everybody. A subdued and tired crowd after 2 days of hurricane coverage, but thanks everyone for the cheers. Before we get going, I'd like to point out that there are some people in this newsroom who will remain nameless. Jana, who thought I would not be airing the cheerleader segment coming into this show, but rest assured, I will be running that every week until I'm gone. Every time. Until I'm gone or until someone gives me something better, which could be any day now. So, get used to it while you can. Week 2 of high school football. We are excited to get going. Huge game of the week matchup. Berkeley and Somerville, dating back 100 years. This is the oldest rivalry we have in the Low Country, and it is among the best as well. Summer Hector has a preview as the 2-0 Stags get ready to visit the 1-0 Green Wave tonight.
The Low Country's oldest rivalry, Berkeley versus Somerville. It's gone on for nearly a century, and back for this week's game of the week. For Somerville's Ian Rafferty, he played in this game as a player at Somerville. And for Eric Lodge over at Berkeley, the newcomer, first-year head coach with the Stags, his first time playing against Somerville, who happens to be the best team in 5A football right now. Both coaches, though, equally excited for this Friday's game.
It's a big thing for the community, and we obviously at home, and we want to do a good job and put on for our community so that we have bragging rights for at least a year, because I think it might mean a little bit more to people in the community, the older guys, than it kind of does to us.
Long rivalry, and something I'm excited to be a part of, and hopefully we can make it a little bit more competitive than what it has been.
It goes back real far, like from ages. I feel like it's one of our best. We gotta go. We gotta win the game.
It's like I see myself every Friday night saying, like, I was one of those fans in the stands, watching, and now I'm actually getting to play. Like, it's a lot. It means a lot.
The Berkeley Stags are coming off an exciting 34-33 win over Hanahan last week and Somerville. They took down Carolina Forest 33-26 on the road last week. Both these teams in our game of the week, both offenses, they've been executing well, putting up points, and both able to air it out. But still, obviously, it's early on, and these coaches, they're looking for improvements in multiple areas.
Well, biggest thing coming off last week, we can't get out rushed again. I think Carolina Forest doubled us up in the rushing game, but we kind of doubled them up in the passing game, so we got to be able to run the football a little more effectively.
2 weeks in a row, we've executed decently well on offense. There's a couple times we shoot ourselves in the foot, but when we execute, it looks good. Defensively, we got to get a lot better of staying focused and playing the whole game. Not giving up big plays. That's been our Achilles heel.
Now Berkeley, they played a week 0 game, so they're 2-0. Somerville, they are 1-0. Both teams undefeated heading into Friday night's game. It's happening at 7:30 here at Memorial Stadium, John McKissick Field here in Somerville. For Live 5 Sports, I'm Summer Hector.
All right, thanks so much, Summer. I should mention that Summer not here today. She is off performing maid of honor duties. I know everyone's thinking, having a life, what's that all about? The nerve of her. But I'm very lucky that we have the deepest bullpen anywhere in the state. Michael Higdon is over at the game of the week. She will be live at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from her at 7 o'clock as well. Also tonight at 6 o'clock, or a little after 6, over by the Somerville Stadium, they're going to be dedicating the new museum towards the former head coach, John McKissick. So that should be very cool as well. We'll have some video from that tonight at 11:15 on Friday Night Lights. Now, we want to go over the schedule for tonight. Lots of good games on the docket, including our game of the week, but also coming up tonight, Cane Bay, coming off that loss to Ashley Ridge last Friday night. They're on the road at West Ashley tonight. The Wildcats trying to move to 3-0 on the season. Two teams of Warriors coming off tough losses last Friday. Stahl and Wando meeting up in Mount Pleasant this evening. Fort Dorchester back on the road again this week. They go down to Georgia to face off against Grayson. Goose Creek, they had last week off after suffering a tough loss in week 0 on the road at South Florence. They are home tonight facing Sumter. Ashley Ridge going on the road looking for another victory as they take on Conway. And Stratford will be home this evening taking on Lexington. Elsewhere on the schedule, James Island, they have been rolling through people in the first 2 weeks of the season. They look to do it again tonight at home as they take on First Baptist. Colleton County had to move their game to tomorrow afternoon against White Knoll. We'll have highlights of that one tomorrow night on Saturday Sports Extra. Philip Simmons going on the road tonight to face off against Georgetown. North Charleston goes to Hollywood to take on Baptist Hill. And Cross and Timberland, the matchup of cousin head coaches. The Wrights facing off tomorrow night now, actually, at Cross. They also moved that game, so Timberland and Cross tomorrow night at 6 o'clock up at Cross. Also on the schedule tonight, Academic Magnet going on the road to take on Burke. Oceanside Collegiate, they're also trying to bounce back after a loss against South Florence last week. They'll take on Carolina Forest. Palmetto Christian taking on Military Magnet over at the District 4 Stadium. And St. John's back at home this evening for the second straight week. They take on Denmark Olar. And as for our SCISA teams, Northwood Academy, maybe the best story in the Low Country so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. After losing 29 games in a row over the past couple of years, they have won their first 2 games of the season so far this season. They are 2-0, trying to make it 3-0 tonight as they head on the road to face Thomas Haywood. Pinewood Prep, they're looking for their first win of the season tonight. They play host to Ben Lippen. Porter Goud also trying to get to 3-0 as they play host to Camden Military. Colleton Prep going on the road to face Branchville. Dorchester Academy is home against Cross Schools, and St. John's Christian also home tonight to take on Calhoun Academy. Now, there were 2 games that were canceled outright this week for separate reasons. Woodland was supposed to go on the road to face off against Bluffton. Woodland D4 called another e-learning day today for Friday, so that means Woodland hadn't practiced since back on Monday, so they just decided to cancel that game. And then Bishop England was scheduled to host Beckham tonight. Bishop England, of course, after the tragedy on their campus last Friday, their football team hasn't suited up since last Thursday, so they didn't get a chance to practice this entire week, so instead they just canceled that game. It will not be made up. So that's what's on tap for week 2 coming up tonight and tomorrow. Before we go out of here, let's take a look back at some of the best plays from week 1.
We ain't the same. Get in your lane, stay in your lane. Wait, this ain't a game. Been through the flame, now get out the way. Whole lot of change. Still been the same, put that on the name. I had to go through it just to get to it. Look what I became. Elevate, level up, way to the top, headed to the peak. All them boys wanna talk, hit them out of law, but don't got receipts. I do it with ease, to you it's a burden, to me it's a breeze. You feel that? That winners degree, that kickback. You coming at me, boy, sit back. Came out the womb like this, hit the pedal and room right quick. Gotta get it, we going up, way up, might land on the moon. Who step in a room like this? We breaking the rules right quick. They killing the mood, and up in the few, might land in the tomb. With a vengeance, killing the odds, I'm leaving no remnants. They all in attendance. Gotta go big, I aim for the fences. It's mine, I sense it. Back in the scene, I'm back to the business. Back on the front line, gotta grind. It's time, let you be the witness. At the time, turn a repeat to a 3P, yeah. Got the franchise on me, you more like G Lee, yeah. 21st century, you all the way BC, yeah. Old boy been washed up, I'm nashed up in TTA. Came out the womb like this, hit the pedal and room right quick. Gotta get it, we going up, way up, might land on the moon.
So that's the top plays of week 1, and that's going to do it for the tailgate tonight. Once again, want to go over everything coming up tonight for high school football right here on Live 5. So at 5 o'clock, Michael Higdon live over at Somerville at McKissick Field as they get ready to take on the Stags in our game of the week. At 6 o'clock, we'll take a live look at the opening from the McKissick Museum. And then at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be live over at Stratford as the Knights get ready to take on Lexington tonight. We'll hear more from Michael Higdon on our game of the week. And then, of course, the main course, 11:15, Friday Night Lights, all the highlights, all the scores, everything you'll need. And of course, you can catch up on everything on live5news.com throughout the evening. That's going to do it for the tailgate for week 2. Everyone have a great weekend. We will see you tonight for Friday Night Lights.